Very carefully. Welcome back to the Turf District, everyone. It's episode 107, or at least the preamble for the Eskimo Empire podcast. I'm your host, Andrew. Thanks for joining along. We thought it would be appropriate tonight to be wearing our Eskimo military shirts in honor of all the people that are I guess, kind of both helping here and abroad, and we'll talk about that a little bit more after the interesting events that surrounded Commonwealth on Saturday night. Our thoughts, of course, and happy to hear that Constable Michael Chernick, am I saying that right? Was okay and was released from hospital. And for all the people that were involved in that and around that, thank you for keeping us safe and making it a little easier to go home at the end of all of that madness that was going on. So let's get to some happier things. Again, thank you for following us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Of course, Patreon and Instagram. And our announcement for this evening, you can now follow us eskempire.ca. The website is now live, everyone. Make sure that you go over and check it out. Each of us has posted our first blog, and we'll be putting some more blogs out as we go. And of course, Kayla is decorating with a bunch of pictures. And another shout out again as well to Joannie Jutras, who did lend us the picture. If you go on a desktop or a laptop computer, you'll actually see the picture in full. On mobile, it's still kind of working out the kinks, but everything else is there, and you can actually pull down and stream episodes of the podcast. Any Bill just asked if there's any glitter. I'm still cleaning glitter out of my Turf District. No, there's no glitter tonight. No Kayla either, actually. Coincidence, yeah, exactly. But absolutely. Join us all there. All the links for everything are right there. You can actually leave reviews for the show. Everything is all right into that one spot, eskempire.ca. So let's see who else is here, shall we? Let's start with, to my immediate left, the one and all super fan, Mike. Oh, there it is. I love the jazz hands. That's good. Make Jedi happy. How's it going, man?
It's all right. It's been a crazy 72 hours, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or 48, yeah.
Yeah, 48 for sure. Yeah, exactly. And then today, you and I have already talked about it a little bit, but the passing of Tom Petty.
Yeah, I don't think that's official yet.
Or close to.
Yeah, they expect he won't be surviving the day.
Yeah.
Definitely, I've been talking for a while that he was number one on my list of concerts I wanted to go see. So that's definitely disappointing. 40 years putting out some amazing music, and Godspeed, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're going to talk about the game a little bit more, but I think we should probably bring in our guest to talk about that.
I think we definitely should.
That's probably a good idea. All right, so joining us down in the Turf District this evening, thank you, is the writer from the Edmonton Sun, Mr. Terry Jones, in his 50th year of writing here in Edmonton. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. I'm also the Edmonton Sun and Journal.
I was going to say, I guess
I started at the Journal.
Yeah, exactly.
What's old is new
That's
again.
True. Yeah, exactly. Now you're doing it all. Yeah. Let's talk. I want to talk a little bit about this event, kind of surrounding Commonwealth first, and then we'll get into a little bit of the game. But you've been covering the Eskimos for basically 50 years. Ever had a scene like that you can remember that was going on?
I've had scenes worse than that I've been. I wouldn't say involved. Well, yeah, involved with. In 1984. I covered the World Series, and the Detroit Tigers won it at home.
Right.
And Tiger Stadium was just, it was a riot outside. I'm talking a total riot, turning over cars, burning them. And it turned out in a weird way to be a memorable, in a positive sort of way, experience, because they just simply couldn't. The media's up there writing stories till,
right.
1 in the morning or whatever, long past that. Actually, I think it was a long, late game to start with. And what they did was the owner of the team, who's in the pizza business, helicoptered to the mound, just a ton of pizzas.
Really?
And I guess there were a couple of kegs of beer left, and he rolled them up to the press box. And so we're sitting there on the roof of Tiger Stadium watching a full-scale riot till about 4-something in the morning.
Wow.
So, you say, I got in a bunch of trouble last night with a tweet that I said it doesn't compare to the one in Las Vegas. By that I meant, anytime there's one individual that is in jeopardy or danger like we had here, it compares. But
yes.
But what I mean, what are we up to now? 58 people killed and over 200. What do you call it? A machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking an international terrorist incident as opposed to a wingnut American one, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
But there's been a lot of things around sports that happen. Most sort of in that riot range, Montreal.
Yeah.
Last time
Vancouver and the 1 year.
Yeah, there's a lot of those win or lose situations, but they're never. One thing I've always, noticed, but they're never the real fans. I mean, they're not people who go and buy a ticket and sit down and take their son to a game or anything like that. They're going there because they have an opportunity to break the law and all that. But with what happened around Commonwealth Stadium, I would venture to say 98% of the people in Commonwealth Stadium had no idea what was going on, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And the police did just, that constable is a legitimate hero.
Amen.
What he did, he's basically to protect his gun, and he's getting stabbed in the face. Put yourself in that position. But there is a video out there. I'd love to find out who the guy was that on that top left-hand corner sees what's going down with the fallen police guy getting stabbed, and he's backing out of the picture.
He's and on some level though,
don't be a false hero, but
scary.
There's that picture doesn't look right to me.
Nope. I can see that, but I agree with you though. The heroism of him holding off while getting stabbed and protecting and still getting back up.
Got back up. Got on the blower and let the police know what direction he was headed in, and essentially began the chase down that ended up on Jasper Avenue with a successful 4 people were hurt, but conclusion.
Right. Yes, but at least there was an end to the entire situation.
Yes.
I know for myself, I don't know about you, Mike. I didn't know until I got a text almost near the end of the fourth quarter, and the text was, "Hey, just be aware. There is a tension and there is traffic issues, things like that going on outside of Commonwealth." Yeah,
and of course the Eskimos were also tweeting that there was an incident and that traffic was going to be delayed as a result. They really, for where we are at the tailgate, there's only 2 ways you can go. You can go towards 112th or 107th.
Yeah.
And we happen to go towards 112th, and that just happened to be the easier way to get out. But there didn't seem to be a lot of panic around. So, like Terry said, I think a lot of people didn't know, and that's a great thing. Not a lot of panic, not a lot of people that were freaking out or trying to cause some more problems and everything else. So, I think the city handled it extremely well.
Yes.
And, people bring up the City of Champions sign again, talking about the people in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. This was one of those moments of City of Champions, and the police officers coming together to make what could have been a completely chaotic situation into something that was almost reasonably controlled and managed well.
Well, I'm not sure if the facts stayed the same, but I was under the understanding that the police officer that was involved in a key role on the Jasper Avenue side was on his second or third week on the job.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
remarkable.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I didn't see the follow-up coverage on that part of it, but again, the City of Champions thing, you realize that and to me, it's what happened after that. I just think so much of the city with its multicultural background and all that, and the kinds of great citizens we have from all of those different backgrounds. But for a lot of people, the first temptation is to push the hate button. When we found out he was a Somalian national and had a previous exposure in the RCMP or whatever like that. But I don't know how many people went straight down to City Hall and had a positive rally, I guess you'd call it.
Edmonton Strong.
Yeah. And including a lot of people from a lot of those refugee situations, current and previous, and kind of got that point across that this was a single individual, and I'm sure there's more than one of them out there somewhere, but it's not a group, and that hate thing is misdirected if that's where you're at.
Yes, I would
agree, 100%.
Agree. Yes, absolutely. Well, let's turn and talk a little bit of football here. We're going to talk more, of course, on the podcast, but tell me the biggest thing that stands out in your mind as far as if you were telling the story of this season so far, what kind of jumps out for you?
Well, the season's pretty obvious. I've never seen that many devastating 6-game important player injuries in however many years I've been coming up with my 45th Grey Cup, so in that many years. I remember one year the Stampeders in Calgary had just a ridiculous number of Achilles injuries in the 60s.
Yeah.
I remember that. But the stupid thing about it was and it probably had a lot to do in retrospect to the fact they were playing most of the Eastern teams, but the worst of it happened in those first 7 games.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And, when we had no problem or found ways to win. Yeah.
And then they went into Winnipeg, which in Winnipeg was having a Winnipeg sort of season to that point.
Yeah.
And I think, what are they, 8-1 since then, or 7 or whatever they are, somewhere like that. And that was a game that a coulda, woulda, shoulda game, right, for Edmonton, right?
Absolutely.
And now the couple that came after that,
the Saskatchewan one was just the team fell apart. Yeah.
But I don't know. I wasn't critical on those because you could tell it. The injuries finally kicked in, and this wonderful story of overcoming and next man up and all that. It was a terrific story.
Mm-hmm.
But the bubble popped, and you had to expect that was going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But that game on Saturday night was a whole different deal, because you had 2 guys coming back from the NFL. Not just good players, great players.
Yes.
And you had 4 or 5 off the injured list in the last 2 games back.
And nobody going on the injured list, which is a miracle.
More important.
Yeah, exactly.
And also you had Swayze Waters coming in to solve that kicking problem that cost them the previous game.
Yeah.
And that was a game that was a no excuses game.
Agreed.
And they didn't show up. Now that's 6 straight games now that they haven't shown up for the first half.
Right.
Agreed.
The game plan, and this is my columnist opinion, not people make the mistake for being sometimes what my opinion is. It's one opinion, but the game plans for those games and if 2 or 3 of those other ones during the winning streak are not set up for a team to succeed early.
Right.
And basically it amounts to trying to run the football to death, essentially. Now, when you had John White, and particularly John White, because you could block up a storm.
Yes.
And, be an effective offensive lineman at the same time. But, when you had all that, you had something going, but all of a sudden they're going into this game, and I'm going to see if I can get this right, but punt, missed field goal, punt. That was their first half.
Yes.
Yep.
0 points.
Well, and we couldn't flip the field either. Like, there's no return game, so we were always starting within our 20-yard line.
And Winnipeg, if
they were starting on their 40.
But if he doesn't miss 3 field goals, it's like 10-0 at the half, or no,
9-0. Yeah.
It was.
Sorry, they got that touchdown.
It was 8-0. It should have been like 16-0.
Yeah,
whatever it was. And you get all that into play, but then they, I think, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that Van had 11 touches in that first half, and the 4 international receivers, the legitimate stars on this team, had the grand total of a combined, I think it was 8 completions to them in the entire first half. Riley had like 54 yards passing in the first half.
Yes.
He ends up with his 10th game at over 300. Mm-hmm. I mean, the game they played in the second half is what they should have come out of the gate with, really.
Right. Agreed.
But that's been all season.
It has been.
And that's what I mean. It's a conservative. It's almost like they figure that I think it's based on the idea that they want to win the time of possession. Well, you want to win the football game.
Yes. Because they did that. They did win the time of possession, and they did win the higher yards, offensive yards. But if you just looked at the stat line, you would think that the Eskimos won this game. But they can't. Well, again, when you're starting from your own 15. You can put 400 yards on the board, and that may equate to a couple of touchdowns because you got to march the whole field every time.
I mean, you can't be doing 2 and outs.
Yeah, no.
And the other thing is that it's just what was involved in the game. I mean, you not only have to win the game, you have to win it by 8 points.
Right. Yes.
So, I mean, you
light it up.
I mean, you don't want to be down 8 after the half. You want to be up 8.
Yeah.
And I just thought the whole game plan, when I used the term in one of the editions, was brain dead, and I still feel that way.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Now, I just had a comment come across here that a lot of people now are calling for Franklin to see more time and for Riley to
that happens.
Yeah, it's always going to happen.
Fire the coach. The backup quarterback has always been the most popular quarterback on the team, no matter who he is.
Absolutely. As we look at my ball. Yeah. No, I got.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at Franklin trying to figure out which team's going to. He's going to be the next, if you will, Mike Riley.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, whoever. Yeah. I'm sure that Saskatchewan wants him.
Oh yes.
But.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they want him, but they can shut their mouths. Anyway,
Anyhow, you get the Mike Riley is leading the league in passing.
Yes.
He's got 10 300-yard games. I will give you that in the last 3-4 games, his passes haven't been right there. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
They've been up and they've been around, they've been down, but they're catchable, and Zylster's catching them.
Yes.
And, but one of the problems is that, Darius Bowman comes back from the injured list. He's done nothing.
But he's also.
I don't know if he's actually back.
He's actually. That's totally my feeling.
I mean,
he's
you
on the
also
field,
have to look at it and you look at Willis and say, okay, has he been playing hurt for the last 5 games? There's something. I mean,
he's not playing at full speed.
You don't have that front half of a season. I mean, he had 24. What do you call them?
Quarterback pressures.
Yeah.
And I think 8 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
He's had 0 and 4 in the second half. Chick hasn't won a game to start with.
No, he's 0 and 13.
I mean, I thought, hey, that's not a bad move. Get squeeze out, 8 pretty good games at the end of his career, and he walks away into the sunset. But they got to address that situation right now.
Yes.
And go on from there. There's others there that you really got to look at. But if you're talking Mike Riley, how many games in what are we talking now? 4 years for him here? 5 maybe?
13 to
11. So this is 4.
How many?
5, yeah.
How many games has he brought the team back late for a win?
Absolutely.
So why are you going to take him out of there for a relief pitcher?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I as much as I love Franklin, I 100%.
I think the issue is a lot of people remember the 2005 playoffs, where Ricky Ray was struggling. They put in Jason Moss, won the game in the Western
anybody's going to cue to that's going to be the head coach of the Eskimos, because he was that guy.
He was that guy, yeah. Exactly.
Or they'll think back to the 81 Grey Cup, right? So getting close to the end of the first, we've done nothing. We've had 0 points. They put in Wilkinson, settled the team down. We get a single, go into the locker room down 20-1. Warren Moon comes up the second half. Of course, everyone knows at that point. We win the game 26-23. But that's like the exception, I think, that proves the rule more than the rule itself. So I think at this point, like Terry said, Riley's been lighting up mostly in the second half. I mean, you've got 54 yards in the first half.
You blame him for not lighting up the first half.
I don't know. Is it him? Is it the receivers? Is it the offensive line not blocking? Is it the play calling? There's a lot of factors. You can't just say it's just
from the stands to the press box, like he's got what do you call it? His checklist going down.
Right, it's checked out.
I mean, when you're heading the ball off, taking 2 steps back, I mean, that's not part of the deal, right?
Right.
So
sorry, we're getting comments, and sorry. Hi, Kayla. Okay. She just said my new motto: put in Mitchell. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree. But you know what? I think you're right there. Now, last question for Periscope, and because I want to talk about this more too. But do they somewhat try to solve that problem today with the trade for getting CJ Gable?
Well, yes, they solved the fact that they're down to 0 running backs again. So, the Canadian kid did pretty well, I thought.
Lochard did well, I thought.
Yeah, Lochard did, but he had a 9 average.
Yeah.
He had a 9.5 average.
Not many runs.
I mean, but still, it was 5 or 6.
But I mean, you need a running back. I mean, if you still see yourself as a team that has a chance to somehow get there, and it's going to have to now be quite clearly without playing a home playoff game.
Quite likely the crossover.
And I mean, Edmonton's won 14 Grey Cups. Only one of those is not featured a home playoff game.
That's right.
So the odds just got. I mean, we're talking Grey Cup and all sorts of things. 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago. So that's changed dramatically. But we got the Grey Cup here next year.
Yep.
And you start over with all those guys. They might just be favored for it when the time comes around. But this is here. This is now. And off that last game, I'm not sure they can win.
Okay, fair enough. What do you? I mean, you're the guy who loves the running game.
I do,
so
and of course we do have Perkins and Marion Grice on the practice roster, but CJ Gable is famous especially for his blocking.
Yep.
He's got good feet. He likes to hit, much like John White, of course, does. And I think that's something that's going to be really helpful. Why we didn't see more sets that protected Riley, if we're having problems, especially on the tackles, to have more, tight end sets, double tight end sets. Mm-hmm. We've got Alexander Dupuis, who's a massive fullback.
He's another offensive
250, 260 pounds. I mean, he's getting up there in size. Put him in, relax it down a bit, and maybe keep Riley upright for that extra steamboat or two. But so I think Gable is going to definitely help.
Although he had great time in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half.
Tons of time.
Right.
And first half they were handing
off.
I've
seen a little bit of in the last 6 weeks that I haven't seen in Mike's whole career. Call it happy feet.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, because he hasn't had the time.
Right.
Well, he's been cranked a couple times too, but
he's had some coverage sacks though.
Yeah.
He's also used to having that. I mean, it's the blind side blocker, right?
Yeah.
And everybody in the league now has got an American offensive lineman over on that side for that purpose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Edmonton's gone out of their way with White and usually somebody else in the fold that can do it.
Yep.
To be able to pick up that block from the blind side. And when you're a quarterback that doesn't have to continually kind of be listening for footsteps or seeing out of the back of your head or everything like that, and you can just plant in there and go down your reads and all that. It's a whole different ball game.
That's very true. Very, very true. Well, That's fantastic. Flip that around. Yeah, that's this is going to be fun. I can't wait to do this show. We're very excited about this. And the best part of getting Gable is that we'll all be able to hear Jedi scream, "Run, fire trucker, run." That's right. That'll be the best part because that boy can run. So and I heard he's actually a great dude in the community and stuff. So very excited for him to join the team. We've got so much more to talk about this. We're going to be, of course, talking about it on the show. We'll have lots more with Terry Jones. We'll have, of course, our regular Eskimo history segment. We'll go through our pick'ems. We'll run through this game, a little bit of the out-of-town scoreboard, of course. And we'll talk a little more about the website going live. So make sure you find us there, eskempire.ca. All of the links for all of our wonderful different social media is on there. You can stream the podcast, rate the podcast, do all of those things. Maybe break the curse with the repetitive dance? So I'm not sure what you mean.
Maybe interpretive dance.
Interpretive dance? Oh, well. Yeah, I'm not even going to try. I thought about it for a second, but that's
first gonna, then your name. I don't
it's
know.
Not good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, the show will be out on Wednesday as always. Follow, share, subscribe. Make sure that everybody knows all about the Eskimo Empire podcast, and of course, you'll get Empire points for helping us out. Have a wonderful week, and we will absolutely talk to you on Wednesday.